Holy cow. It is windier than Chicago right now. Anyways, how you guys doing? I'm Chris Ignato. So, anyways, I wear this little kit on my belt a lot of the time, right? Especially when I'm camping or doing my campfire programs and stuff. And within it is my fire kit. And it's a simple fire kit. It's got 3 main ingredients. I've got my flint. It's just a piece of flint, right? Sometimes I use chert or whatever. I've got my steel. And of course, you just use the flint and steel to create a spark. But you need to catch that spark with something. So I have actually a piece of some charred wood that I created. It's char wood, not the same as charcoal. And I've got some char cloth and char cotton. And you need to catch the spark within those. And then you wrap it in a tinder bundle, blow into it, and the ember eventually combusts into flame. However, you can't just grab any old wood or cloth. So I'm going to show you simply how to make char cloth for flint and steel. So obviously, the first thing I want to do is select some good cloth. And over the years, I've learned a lot of things. A lot of fabric comes with fire retardants in it. That doesn't really work good for this application. Other factors are what materials. You know, polyester is definitely not something you want to use. You pretty much want cloth. I keep hearing something. You just want standard cotton. And I cut that up into little strips or squares. And then I'll place it within a tin of some sort, either, you know, a little tuna can, you know, with the lid, or a tin like this. And what I've been using a lot is just simple tin foil. And what I do is I lay the pieces out. I try not to overlap them too much. And then I fold the foil over so that they're sandwiched within those layers. And I poke a little hole in it and squeeze out as much air as possible. You don't want any oxygen in there, or else it winds up kind of combusting or turning to ashes. What you really want to do is burn away everything so there's nothing left but carbon. So having that little hole and it's squeezing everything out is kind of crucial. The next step is actually really simple. You have to have a fire. And it's funny because you might need char cloth to make your fire, but you need fire to make your char cloth. So the first fire, as is often the case, is usually the hardest one. The rest after that become a lot easier, right? So I take my little tin or the folded, foil, and I place it on some embers by the fire. I don't put it directly in the fire, but I put it beside it, and then I just sit back and wait. Eventually, you'll start seeing a lot of smoke shooting out of that hole, that chimney, if you will. At that point, you pretty much just sit patiently and wait. After a little while, the smoke will stop coming out of it. When the smoke stops, it should be ready. It should be nothing but carbon left behind. So you want to very carefully remove it, let it cool down a bit, and wait a while, because if you open it right up there, oxygen will rush in and everything will just kind of glow red and turn to ashes. Don't let that happen. It's really unfortunate, trust me. So once it's cooled off enough, you want to open it up and see. If it's completely jet black, then you know you've got some good char cloth or char wood or whatever it is you're creating. So a very, very important element to this whole thing is you have to keep your char cloth or whatever bone dry, completely dry. If it's not dry, it's not going to catch that spark. So you want to store it in either foil or little plastic baggies. Sometimes even like birch bark and stuff works. I've used clamshells and sap to seal the clamshells before, just because I wanted to be cool. And it'll be great for starting fires with that little cold spark from the flint and steel. I mean, it's only probably about 300 degrees or so. If you're using the ferro rods, that spark is a lot hotter, which of course is 100 times easier to start a fire using ferro rods. But you want to keep it real. Flint and steel is a very rewarding process. and creating that char cloth and everything, you just kind of feel like you've done something, and I love it. Anyways, that's a real simple way to make char cloth and start a fire using flint and steel. Thanks a lot for watching. I'm Chris Ignato. I'll see you in one of my other videos.